Hey there, so recently I posted a couple of videos on ascending through the apocalypse. If you haven't seen them yet, you can check them out on my channel. One is informational yet entertaining, and the other is more of a pep talk meditation. It also links you to a free sound healing guided meditation. In this video, I'll provide some important and potent tips for ascending through the apocalypse. First off, before I get into the tips, as I stated in my previous videos, the apocalypse never actually meant the end of the world. Maybe the end of an era, but not the end of humanity and of the earth. Apocalypse means the great unveiling. Right now, a greater divine truth is being revealed for those open to receiving it. These revelations trigger our ascension. What this may look like, translated to a more human level, may be that outdated structures and programs are falling away and are being replaced by something innovative that serves humanity. You likely may have heard that we're moving into the age of Aquarius. We are ending a 2,000-year period in the age of Pisces and are in the beginning stages of 2,000 years in the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius turns the attention to more innovative scientific discoveries and technologies that serve humanity in our ability to thrive and prosper. So during the apocalypse, these old structures are now going to be replaced. Such an exciting time. So while it may not be the end of humanity, the collective as a whole may traverse through the dark night of the soul as the old structures and programs fall away. For some, amazing things may occur. For others, they may have one of the most challenging and chaotic times of their life. Some of you might be wondering, what is the dark night of the soul? For ourselves personally, if we enter into the dark night of the soul, it means we're being forced to face our fears. It may mean we're hitting bottom and trying to find our way back up. It could mean that we are experiencing great transformations that lead us to our potential. Ultimately, that is the purpose of the dark night of the soul, to transform us into our greater potential. So these tips that I'll be providing are designed to assist you in traversing the apocalypse with grace and ease. So whether you find yourself in the dark night of the soul or caught up in the collective dark night of the soul, or just need some general assistance getting into better alignment, these tips may make this journey a little bit more smooth. But why will some have an amazing time and others may have a challenging and chaotic time, you may ask? Well, to be fair, to some, their reality may not swing to either direction very much. So, what determines how one experiences this collective shift through the apocalypse? Honestly, it has to do with how aligned you are with this new reality. And no, I'm not talking about the new normal. It has to do with how aligned you are to your potential. It has to do with if you've already woken up and done your inner shadow work, which relates to the wounds that need addressing, the fears to face, and the shifts that need to be made to come into greater alignment with where you want to be and where you should be. And don't worry, we don't ever get there, but we always get a little closer. Okay, so on to the tips. Number 1, this may be the most important tip. Whenever you ask for guidance or call in divine beings and angels, understand this. Always be specific when calling in the eternal divine being of the highest vibration of unconditional love and divine light. Too many people call in various deities and angels, and honestly, most of the time they're calling in deities and programs of the false light matrix. In other words, they're essentially calling in some Agent Smith disguised as some matrix program we may call an ascended master or something. But eventually that false light matrix being turns into Agent Smith. Keep the intention clear that these beings are connected to and in alignment with the divine source of the highest vibration of unconditional love. And you can ask for support and guidance from the divine source's helper beings and spirits of the highest vibration of unconditional love that assists humanity in their spiritual growth and conscious evolution. I know, it's a bit of a mouthful, so here it is written out. For those inclined to do so, you could call in Jesus and Mary Magdalene, who represent the union of humanity's divine feminine and divine masculine. But again, be specific that they are from that connection to the divine source of the highest vibration of unconditional love that serves in humanity's growth and conscious evolution. Number 2, choose love over fear. I know what some naysayers are going to say. And no, I'm not asking you to stick your head in the sand. But honestly, I see so much unjustified fear. People mostly fear all these what-if scenarios, things that likely won't happen or won't happen anytime soon, that it honestly doesn't serve to worry much about it now. Instead, trust the divine flow and accept what is rather than focusing on the what-ifs. There are a lot of what-ifs, and I guarantee you whatever you are what-ifing about, it's very likely you aren't seeing all the possibilities that are available that can shift these what-ifs into something positive. So choosing love over fear is about facing your fear and choosing faith anyway. It's not about sticking your head in the sand because you are choosing the energy of love over the energy of fear. I've got a Libra rising, so I am constantly looking at both sides of everything to see the bigger picture and to understand why people think the way they do. What I see a lot of is that so many people simply fear either because the media told them to or because they don't see the bigger picture at play. Choosing love over fear means choosing faith. So that will be our number 3. Have faith that regardless of what happens, you will be guided through it. Now, some people worry less about themselves and worry more about others. That's certainly an important trait, and one that needs to be in balance, or we may get hung up here. Ultimately, we are our own co-creators, co-creating with God's source. Everyone on earth has their own journey, their own karma, lessons, growth opportunities, and are at different places in their soul growth. So while we should keep the well-being of others in mind, make sure it's in balance with yourself and not to the detriment of your own physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. But this is also the beauty of free will. I provide the tips and directions, you've got the reins. So choosing faith and having trust that no matter what happens means that as long as the scary what-ifs, the thing you're really afraid of, hasn't happened yet, then choose a little faith and trust instead, trusting that all is divine purposeful. Ask, keep it in mind, number 1, that you are divinely guided, as well as humanity to be more divinely supported. Ask for divine love and light from the eternal divine God source to help support us in our ascension process. And just trust that no matter what happens, you and your family will remain safe, supported, and protected. For as you ask, so shall you receive. And knowing number 1 now, maybe you understand why some say, be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it. because they ask without specifying the support and answer come from the highest expression of divine will, divine grace, and divine alignment for the highest good of all. Sometimes the answer comes in a package we were not expecting or thought could be our answer. Again, have faith and trust in the divine. Number 4, follow your heart. Let inspiration guide you. Do what makes you happy. This is an important one as well, for if you are not following what your heart feels, what makes you happy, and what inspires you, then you may not find yourself in that comfy flow of divine grace. Now, notice I said all 3 points together and not separating them with an or. There's a reason for that. You could just follow your heart, but if you have unhealthy heart chakra patterns, then following your heart and what you feel might lead you back into these unhealthy patterns. If you have a wounded heart chakra, following your heart alone may not help in traversing the apocalypse with grace and ease. If you just did what made you happy, you again could get caught up in unhealthy cycles. If, however, your heart, your inspiration, and happiness can all agree on one thing, then you can be certain that is your divinity within guiding you. Apply numbers 1, 2, and 3 as you do so, however, to ensure the most aligned outcome. And this leads us to our number 5. As you follow your heart, your inspiration, and your happiness, don't get too caught up in the future what ifs. Accept what is and plant those seeds of intention of what you wish to manifest in the future. Keeping it perhaps a little loose in general, especially as so much can shift over these next few years, throwing your plans out the window for new and hopefully improved and more aligned manifestations. So if, for instance, you want to be financially prosperous, doing divinely guided work that makes you happy, that serves humanity, then maybe that's as specific as you need to get. Rather than explaining how you want to be financially prosperous, it's important to leave the hows up to the divine source of the highest vibration of unconditional love, because source sees the bigger picture. Apply numbers 1 through 4 when you plant your seeds of intentions and goals. To help you in your journey, you can download your free Tips to Ascending Through the Apocalypse guide that outlines these 5 tips and provides questions so you can better connect to the divine flow of grace as we traverse through this apocalypse. Wishing you all much grace and ease. Namaste.